Alright, Halo Episode 7. I'll go ahead and tell you right up front that it's all Quan and Soren, and John doesn't show up at all, except for a hallucination. This episode has some mediocre action, some nonsensical story and plot things, so let's get into it. I'm going to start with Soren's part until it runs into Quan's, because that's the rest of the episode. So Soren is back in the rubble, telling stories at a party. I guess he can just fucking teleport, because he was 100 miles from a port in the middle of the desert, with no water or vehicle and knocked unconscious. The guy Squirrel, who you might remember from episode 2, who was complaining about the chickens, gets drunk and calls Soren out for losing a step at the party. Also, they're the same height for some reason, because fuck the details, I guess. Soren intimidates him until he backs down. Squirrel was the guy who was drunk at the party, and he's setting up a job, and Soren kind of bullies him and then tells him he wants in. Later, they're on a UNSC frigate to steal a military-grade hyperdrive, and Soren crushes Squirrel's foot with cargo to teach him a lesson. We cut back to the rubble. Soren's wife says that was mean. He's a mean pirate, I guess. Oh no. For some ungodly reason, he's bothered about Quan. And also, his left mutated arm is more muscular up top in the bicep and tricep area than his normal one. No idea how that would work, because presumably he's doing all of his lifting with his right hand, but whatever. The next time we see Soren, he's on Madrigal with Quan. So let's get to her part in the rest of the episode. Alright, so we start with a flashback of Quan that doesn't really add anything to the episode other than some filler time. She does have normal hair though, which is nice because it looks a lot better. So back in the present, we cut to her driving the buggy she stole from Soren, and you might think that she shot him or left him to die, but you'd be wrong because he can fucking teleport. So she drives into a dust storm and stops the buggy and gets out, and then she gets kidnapped by the mystic witches of the desert. They look like they belong in a Roman Colosseum or something, and she blames them for her dad dying. The head magic lady says that Quan isn't ready to see what her dad saw. So she throws a tantrum, and shocker, she gets her way for throwing a fucking tantrum. Even though the magic lady specifically says, you're not ready, and what has all your anger gotten you? So whoever wrote this show, I can only assume was a petulant, spoiled child that threw temper tantrums and just got their way all the time. And throughout this, we get a couple glimpses of Venture saying he's looking for Quan, and we found out that he tripled the bounty on her. We go back to Quan, and the witches talk about how Madrigal used to be barren until they were looking for water and found the special fuel. The shit still looks barren to me. The whole planet's a big fucking desert. The biggest population that we saw was 150 people who got wiped out. The guy who found the fuel found some kind of alien being, which obviously we know is going to be a forerunner just because of how this show is, but they just call it an alien. The magic lady turns the fire in her hand into water and makes Quan drink it. None of this makes any fucking sense. But who cares about that shit? She hallucinates that she's with the Master Chief and has to fight him one-on-one. She keeps upgrading weapons but can't hurt him, and then he just knocks her out, which I enjoyed. She breaks down and cries after 4 or 5 times, and he holds his hand out and suddenly he doesn't have a helmet. I mean, who the fuck wrote this? The story is literally just cry and scream and you'll get your way. Anyway, they step outside and suddenly John has no armor either, so he goes from fully armored to no helmet or armor in like 3 cuts. I have no idea why. So he walks with her through the desert to look at a hole, and she sees the original guy who found the hole, which is actually a portal. The guy changes to each person that this secret was passed down to, and the last one is her dad, and he tells her it won't open until Madrigal is safe, and that she is the protector now. I have to wonder, do these fucking writers know that you can have story progress and character development not in fucking hallucinations? Jesus Christ. And with this show, I can only assume that this is going to end with them jumping through this fucking portal on Madrigal to Halo, and that's where the show is going to end. I mean, obviously that's just a guess, but that seems to be where we're heading. So anyway, Quan goes to the base where everyone got killed at, and I guess dead bodies don't decompose here because elite corpses are just chilling there in the same condition they were already in, and apparently no one thought to loot their dead bodies for the advanced technology they had, so fuck all that stuff. So Venture sees that she's there with a drone. Why did he have a drone there? How did he have a drone there? Who knows? Fuck it. We need it for the story. Soren shows up to find Quan, who also inexplicably knows exactly where she is. Fuck it. Venture shows up right after Soren does with like 100 dudes with machine guns. And Soren says he'll honor his promise to John to protect her, and they find a suitcase full of money. So Quan's plan is to blow up the hydrogen tank and hide in the vault. The tank has a blockage, so she goes underground to unblock it. Soren kills a bunch of dudes with his pistol, which is fine, but then he kills a bunch with a knife in his bare hands, and they all have machine guns. Luckily, they were nice enough to just run up to him, and they shoot like fucking stormtroopers, so he's good. Just mediocre action all over the place, if I'm being nice. Quan gets spotted and hides behind a wall, and wouldn't you fucking know it, there's a plasma grenade laying there. Just a plasma grenade laying on the ground. No one looted this place. Somehow, she sneaks around the guy who spotted her and sticks the plasma grenade to his back, and it blows him up. Venture shoots Soren, and Quan is hiding again, and holy shit, she finds the Master Chief's assault rifle. And even fucking better, it has ammo in it. Obviously. So instead of executing Soren, Venture monologues like he's some kind of fucking James Bond villain, and Quan draws attention to herself and then shoots the hydrogen tank herself. Originally, that was Soren's job, but he was busy taking out like 80 guys with his bare hand because he only has one good one. And she hits this specific spot on the tank to blow it up when she's never fired a gun before. Thank God the Master Chief's weapon just was laying there with ammo, and she could shoot it, and she aimed the right way. This is all just retardation, what comes next. Her and Soren outrun the explosion and jump into the vault that has a window on it that faces the explosion. And this is just so stupid. It literally blows up the entire base, but their little vault is good. Even though it has a window on it, it's not even like a sealed vault. And this is like the Indiana Jones hiding in the fridge to get away from the nuke thing. And also, you're a fucking insurrectionist group trying to protect a planet, and you just keep shit that can blow up with one bullet. It can destroy your entire base. How did they ever fucking survive their fights with the UNSC? It rains on the desert planet on a sunny day, and it only rains in this spot after she blows up the tank. I mean, hydrogen's presumably a gas, but fuck it, I don't know. So we cut. Soren offers to give her some of the money from the suitcase. Soren, the fucking pirate, is offering to give money away. She tries to recruit him for her one-person revolution, which I guess she only needs herself for. She says, hopefully I'll see you again, and he says he hopes he never sees her again, which might be the most relatable line in this whole series, and that's where the episode ends. He got his ship and money, so he's out. And this episode was just what the fuck the whole time with the hallucinations and the magic ladies, and the action was so boring. The good news is that there are only 2 episodes left. So my guess is that we'll get a little bit of fighting in the next one, and then the entire last episode will be fighting. And it'll be a race to the portal to get to Halo where the season will end, is my guess. I mean, seriously, unexplained magic desert people, storytelling through hallucinations, time travel information again, mediocre action if you're in a good mood. And that's the best part. And that ignores the contrivances and, whew, man, this show fucking sucks balls. Between this and the season 2 announcement for Halo Infinite, it is not a great time to be a Halo fan. Alright, well that's it for this one. See ya.